Alright, so this is video number 2 that I'm actually shooting today. That's why I'm sweating so badly and I'm so dirty. I'm actually doing... Let's go ahead and get a little better look at Frankenstein though. I know I did the whole epic mini-series and all that, but I mean, you can see I've got a full lawn now. The only place it's not coming in is right along the fence line, which you wouldn't expect, and then underneath this magnolia right here, you know. So I'll probably have to just put some rocks and a little border in right there, but I'm gonna go ahead and let it seek its own level, so to speak, and I'll let the Bermuda tell me where it feels comfortable living and where it doesn't. Another test will be the winter, because the sun comes from here and it goes over top, right? Over top of the lawn. Well, in the winter, the days are shorter and the sun is actually displaced a little bit further that way. But if you look at previous videos and photos, I need to start edging this a little better, but you can see this is where we had put in... This is where we had transplanted sprigs, and you can see that only that little spot remains, but the rest has thickened up nicely. And then this right here is where we put our plugs in. We made our own plugs. We reached out over there and we grabbed plugs and we put them in here, and you can see this is filled in completely. Now the other thing is I've got to keep this sea grape trimmed because you can see it keeps its own level, and one subscriber had recommended that what I do is just let it do that, again, seek its own level, and then all I need to do is pull this border out, and that's a really good idea. But for right now though, I'm going to go ahead and trim this just to let it seek its own level for a little bit longer before I make a permanent border change. Do have some crabgrass coming in, things like that, so I'm going to spray that today. I just use Blindside for that. It's a great specialty herbicide, and the reason I like it is because I can use it on my Bermuda and I can also use it over there on my St. Augustine, so it's dual purpose for me, and then I've got 2 grass types here to deal with. Here's the other corner of it. You can see this had a lot of bare area up in here. Most of this is filled in. We got a little bit still right here that's struggling, and right there. So let's go ahead and get a nice clean reel mower cut on this, and let's see what it looks like. But I figured what I would do right now is introduce you to a new lawnmower I got. And it's actually a different kind of lawnmower than I've ever owned before. It's what's called a reel mower. Now the primary reason I decided to get this reel mower, which was sent to me by the Sunjo company, I basically just sent them an email and said, hey, you know who I am. I'm a pretty big deal. I want you to send me one of your reel mowers for free and I'll go ahead and review it. And they were like, yeah, no problem. And they sent it like a day later. I'm a pretty big deal. But the real reason that I decided to get a reel mower is because I'm tired of you guys, especially you snobs in Great Britain over there, telling me that I don't have a reel mower unless I have a reel mower. There are actually quite a few advantages though to using a reel mower, especially on a grass type like Bermuda. So let's talk about those while I go ahead and put this puppy together. Alright, so the first and best reason to use a reel mower comes down to really the way it cuts. A lot of times I hear the analogy used that it cuts like a pair of scissors, but a lot of people don't explain what that means. And truthfully, the reason that the cut is cleaner with a reel mower is because of that scissor cutting action. It's metal on metal. You see, each reel mower has what's called a bed knife, and as the multiple blades turn, and of course the better the reel mower, the more blades it will have, and those blades are separated by just a millimeter or so from the bed knife. So when you push it across the turf grass, it's literally cutting like a pair of scissors, metal across metal. This delivers an extremely clean cut, whereas a rotary mower, you can imagine going in that fan direction, spinning like a ceiling fan, is not going to have as clean of a cut. It's literally ripping and tearing, which is why having a sharp mower blade on a rotary mower is so important. Additionally, rotary mowers, if they bog down, they're going to tear even worse. The other thing to consider is the direction that grass grows in. It grows vertically, right, from the soil up towards the sun. And a rotary mower is cutting the exact opposite or perpendicular way because it's cutting horizontally, or literally chopping off the grass blades. Whereas the reel mower is cutting in the same direction, almost what you might want to say when you're shaving, going with the grain. And that will deliver a little less stress on the lawn as it does cut it. Of course, with this scissor action cutting, you are now able to mow quite a bit lower, where with a rotary mower, you start to mow too low, the cutting and the tearing is a lot more pronounced. Now, a lot of people will say that a reel mower is something you should use because it's environmentally friendly, it doesn't take gasoline and all those kind of things. And yeah, I guess that's true to a certain extent, and I've really enjoyed the exercise that I'm getting here. But I will tell you, if I had any bit bigger of a space than this 1,000 square foot area right here, I would be buying a gas-powered reel mower in a heartbeat. So the environmental piece of that would go out the window when it came to me. But for now, since I have a small space and I am going to push this thing around, sure, I'll be green and I'll take credit for it. Okay, so you saw where I took it down to. I took it down to like the middle level.
By the way, no making fun of my wardrobe here. I was wearing jeans because I was going to spray weeds, but I had to take those off and just throw some shorts on because I'm freaking burning up out here, if you can't tell. Now eventually the goal is to take this down as low as this reel mower will go, which is somewhere just above an inch. And the reason being is because one way to combat weeds is to spray them, but another way is to try to outcompete them. And one of the advantages that Bermuda has is it can take a super short cut. And a lot of your problem grasses and weeds can't. They'll just die because you're taking off too much leaf surface and they can't survive. Whereas Bermuda, the lower you cut it, the more lateral growth is stimulated, which will also help to choke out the weeds. So you're gonna use the alpha male nature of the Bermuda to help fight weeds. It's not a foolproof way to do it, but it's a way to help with cultural practices so you can use less chemical in the future.
Hey, what's up, guys? All right, so I don't know if you can tell, but it is a super rainy day out right now, and so I'm kind of stuck inside. So I wanted to go ahead and do a little bit more about this video. It's not just about showing off a new reel mower that I called Sunjoe for and got for free, even though that's super cool. And I really do like the unit, and I've really learned to enjoy mowing with it. It's been a lot of fun and really good exercise. But what I really wanted to focus on today is a term, cultural practices. What cultural practices are is they're essentially just the way that you approach caring for your lawn and landscape. So these are things like mowing, trimming, edging. These are cultural practices. Watering, irrigation is another piece of cultural practice. And then of course, fertilizing and herbicides and pesticides that you may use on the lawn are also a part of your cultural practice. As you guys know, I practice integrated pest management as my approach to lawn care. And one thing that we've talked about a lot over the years, especially when I lived up north, was mowing height. And I always told you guys, if you could, go up to 4 inches in the summer with your mowing height. Now there's several reasons that I recommend you adjust your cultural practices to mowing cool season lawns that tall. One is because it just leaves more leaf surface available to sunlight, which allows more photosynthesis to occur, which keeps the lawn vigorous. And then another obvious reason to mow tall is because that it helps to shade the root system, keeping it a little bit cooler in the beating sun, as well as it helps the soil to retain moisture a little bit better. And one thing that I mentioned a few times that's really important and really goes to what this video is about is the cultural practice up north of mowing tall, because it helps to keep weed competition out. If you remember the Creeping Charlie videos that I did a couple years ago, I'll link to those below. Part of the reason that the Creeping Charlie didn't take over any worse than it did is because my lawn was so thick. Now, Creeping Charlie or ground ivy is one of those that you just can't keep out at all, because once it gets in your lawn, it's going to spread. But the thicker your lawn is, the slower the spread will be. It took several years for it to get as thick as it is just in my parkway right here, whereas some of you with thinner lawns, you've seen Creeping Charlie take over in a year, year and a half. So in that case, my cultural practice of mowing the lawn taller and thus helping it to stay thicker and more vigorous helped it to outcompete the Creeping Charlie. So when I did have to use a chemical means, I was able to reduce the use of that pesticide because there wasn't that bad of a problem. Now on the flip side, and something that I'm having a lot of fun with here, is with Bermuda, you can go the opposite extreme. You can go super duper low. And I'm probably going to end up getting this down below 3/4 inch if I can. I want you to imagine then, if we're mowing that low, that it basically keeps the weeds that would be invading, it keeps them shaved off low, because many of those weeds cannot survive that low, but the grass can. And in some cases where you'll see here, I've got crabgrass coming in pretty bad. Crabgrass will survive at a low cut, and in fact, it kind of encourages it to spread wider faster, but I will be able to use less chemical in this case, and that is another good reason to have a cultural practice of mowing your Bermuda super duper low. So long story short and ramble cool, I just wanted to say that when you approach mowing height, you should think about it in terms of health of the lawn, not just the looks and not just how much does it improve my stripes or doesn't improve my stripes, but what does it do to allow me to reduce my chemical inputs for the year and allow me to keep weeds out in a more natural way.
All right, so there it is, all cleaned up. I think it looks pretty darn good. We're gonna go a lot lower than this. I did get the sea grape trimmed again, so that way some of these areas here will start to fill in underneath. As long as I keep that trimmed up, it'll fill in pretty nice. So there we go. Next thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and spray weeds. I'm not gonna film that, but I'm gonna go ahead and spray weeds here. And then hopefully that'll be one of the last times that I need to do that, because I can start controlling a good bit of the weeds by just mowing height alone, but we'll see. And I'll keep experimenting with this mower too, of course. Overall, I'm going to say it was actually kind of fun to mow with this mower, because it is good exercise, but it's not overly strenuous as long as the lawn isn't overgrown. I'll continue to work with it a little more and let you guys know what I think. Of course, I'll put a link in the description below if you want to buy one of these for yourself. And as always, I hope this review has been helpful to you.
It's hard to see in the sun, but I still got to figure out what I'm going to do here. This is an alleyway, so I mean the Bermuda really should stop right there, but it's moving over, but it kind of goes right up that line, so we'll have to figure out a way to make a domination line right there for sure later on. So there you go. When I say it's a good workout, it's definitely a good workout, cutting by hand. In fact, I think we should do that. We should start a movement of workouts through manual reel mowers. I think that'd be pretty fun. What? We'll call it maybe the Lawn Care Nut workout plan. I mean, how many of you, your spouse ever complains when you say, I'm going to work out? Usually they're like, yeah, you need to work out. So this is the way to do it. Go outside, mow the lawn, consider it a workout, and get more credit for doing your work and your workout at the same time. That's efficiency, Lawn Care Nuts. So I can already figure that the number one question I'm going to get is, Alan, how hard is this thing to push? And you know, when I did the very first initial mowing, it was a little bit difficult, but I was taking off a good inch or so of material, so there was a lot there. The key with a reel mower, guys, is you need to mow frequently. I've been mowing every day, which means just a very little bit of a smidge comes off, so it actually is a good, easy push. I mowed today, and it's been 2 days since I mowed because we had heavy rain yesterday, and you see how easily I'm going through it. I mean, I'd even say it's like butter. But that's the key with all reel mowers. And if you're looking at any manual reel mower online and you see bad reviews, it's just because people expect it to be easy like their rotary push mower would be. But it's not. This is you using your energy to create the inertia to do the work, and that's why it's such a good workout. But is it difficult? No, it's not. It's just a little bit of a push. If you use your mower consistently and you're mowing at least every second or even third day, it's not going to be that hard to push, and again, it's a great workout. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the day. I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. I hope this tip has been helpful to you, and I'll see you in the lawn.